Rachel is officially a lawyer, but ordinary cases are not what make her dangerous. She specializes in wealthy criminals who hide behind contracts, fake companies, and complicated financial systems. Rachel studies how their money moves, finds the weakest connection, and turns the law against them. Her greatest advantage is the team behind her. Rachel creates the strategy. Her operatives handle anything a courtroom cannot solve. Elsewhere, Paxton and Tony are returning from a successful negotiation. Paxton calls Bobby, the powerful businesswoman who sent them. For months, Bobby has been trying to recover $1 billion from Salazar. The billionaire borrowed it through a business deal, then refused to repay it. Paxton now carries a signed contract confirming that Salazar has finally agreed to return everything with interest. Olson, one of Salazar's contractors, is traveling with them. Paxton asks him to leave the vehicle before discussing details. The moment Bobby hears Salazar accepted every condition, she becomes suspicious. A ruthless man like him would never surrender $1 billion without planning something. Before Paxton can answer, a shot erupts. Olson has attacked Tony. Paxton realizes the agreement was bait. He tries to escape, but the vehicle is locked from outside. Bobby hears the panic through the phone, yet Paxton has no time to explain. Olson finally unlocks the door. Paxton runs, believing he has been given a chance. Olson only wanted him in the open. Paxton is taken down moments later. Olson collects the contract and disappears. Salazar never intended to pay. He easily has enough money, but repayment would mean admitting someone forced him to surrender. Salazar believes nobody should have that power. Bobby controls a huge international organization and has lost people protecting her interests before. Paxton's death matters, but the billion still has to be recovered. She needs someone who can attack Salazar in a way he cannot predict. That person is Rachel. Bobby offers her 5% of anything recovered. Rachel demands 10. Bobby accepts, mainly because she doubts Salazar can be forced to pay. Rachel maps his empire, examining companies, hidden investments, offshore accounts, and every country where his money operates. Then she calls her two most trusted operatives. Branca handles tactical work. Sydney specializes in infiltration, deception, and intelligence. Rachel finds the pressure point. They hit it. Their first target is Horowitz, the lawyer protecting Salazar's fortune. Rachel and Branca meet him while posing as representatives of a wealthy buyer. Horowitz initially listens, but Branca behaves less like an investor and more like a man preparing for trouble. Horowitz summons his guards and orders them to remove the visitors. Branca calmly warns them that coming closer would be a serious mistake. His expression convinces them not to test him. Horowitz sits down again. Rachel reveals that she knows his real role. He does more than provide legal advice. He manages shell companies, hides records, and keeps Salazar's money moving without attracting authorities. Horowitz warns that anyone unable to survive deep water should remain near shore. Rachel smiles, leaves her card, and walks away. She has no intention of fighting Salazar's soldiers. Violence would create chaos, and dead men cannot transfer money. Instead, she will make resistance so expensive that negotiation becomes his only choice. The first opening appears in Dubai. Salazar is developing a huge construction project, but his company has occupied thousands of square feet beyond its legal boundary. Sydney sends proof to the authorities. The government freezes the project almost immediately. Construction stops, deadlines collapse, and Salazar starts losing money every day. While his attention is fixed on Dubai, Branca and Baker enter Salazar's private island. Avoiding a direct fight, they damage several expensive machines supporting his operations, creating another costly delay. Rachel has struck him in 2 countries without firing a shot. Horowitz understands the message. She is not trying to scare them. She is carefully increasing the cost of refusing Bobby's demand. He warns Salazar that Rachel's operatives are disciplined, difficult to trace, and unlikely to repeat the same method. Salazar suggests removing Rachel permanently. Horowitz rejects it. Her death would not stop the operation. It might unleash Branca, Sydney, and the rest of her team, who could forget the money and seek revenge. Horowitz explains that Rachel's attacks already cost nearly $28 million each month. If they continue resisting, the damage will eventually exceed her demand. Negotiation is now cheaper. Rachel's price is $300 million. Salazar refuses and authorizes an offer of only $28 million. Horowitz contacts Rachel, expecting the number to tempt her. She says she has finished negotiating with employees. From now on, she will speak only to Salazar. Meanwhile, Sydney begins the next stage. He travels to Dubai and targets Sam, the man controlling Salazar's hidden accounts and international transfers. Sam is not a fighter, but his computer may be more valuable than Salazar's entire security force. It connects the billionaire to fraudulent companies, offshore money, and secret investments. Sydney enters a private gambling club Sam visits and starts defeating the regular players. He makes enough noise for word to reach the owner. Sam soon appears, curious about the stranger embarrassing his men. Sydney invites him to play. He could keep winning, but that would create suspicion. Instead, he deliberately loses and lets Sam believe he won fairly. Afterward, Sydney gives him an expensive decorative artwork, calling it rare and perfectly suited to his taste. Flattered, Sam takes it home. The gift is actually a delivery system. A hidden device searches for nearby computers, enters them, and quietly copies their data. Once Sam places the artwork near his equipment, Rachel's team gains access to everything he has protected. Transfers, shell companies, offshore accounts, and secret investments begin flowing into Rachel's system. Salazar's empire is no longer hidden. His lawyers try stopping Rachel through the courts, but she already possesses enough evidence to support her claims. She defeats Horowitz legally and removes another layer of protection around Salazar. After losing, Horowitz signals that they may discuss the $300 million demand. Rachel refuses vague promises. She orders him to arrange a personal meeting with Salazar. If he refuses, she will release enough information to destroy them both. Horowitz insults her and ends the call. Rachel is not offended. His anger proves the pressure is working. She tells Branca and Sydney to prepare. Salazar will invite her to the island soon, but nobody expects him to let her leave peacefully. Branca begins planning the extraction before Rachel arrives. The team studies the island, identifies checkpoints, and marks roads controlled by cartel forces. The eastern route offers the best chance of escape, so Branca builds the operation around it. They are not trying to conquer the island. They only need to keep Rachel alive until she moves beyond Salazar's reach. Sydney warns that local authorities cannot be trusted. Salazar has bought police officers, officials, and guards across the region. Calling for help could expose their position. The team checks nearby buildings, roads, and coastline. Before the meeting, every possible escape route is tested one final time by Rachel's entire team. Baker prepares explosives powerful enough to stop a large pursuit and plants traps along routes Salazar's vehicles will likely use. Farid and Susie ready boats in case land routes close. Branca hides cameras throughout the hotel, covering entrances, corridors, and the meeting area. Farid secretly attaches an explosive device beneath one of Salazar's vehicles as another emergency option. One problem remains. Nobody knows the location of Salazar's private prison, where he reportedly hides enemies he cannot remove publicly. Sydney volunteers to find it from inside. He drinks openly, behaves recklessly near a road, and attracts attention. Corrupt police officers soon arrest him, exactly as planned. Instead of taking him to a normal station, they drive towards Salazar's hidden detention facility. Sydney has deliberately placed himself inside the enemy's system. With the cameras active, traps prepared, and prison operation underway, Branca contacts Rachel. The team is almost ready. Salazar reaches his private plane expecting the door to open. Instead, an official blocks him and says the aircraft is no longer under his control. For the first time in 15 years, the billionaire cannot board his own plane, and Rachel is only getting started. The device inside Sam's artwork has copied everything from his office computers. Secret accounts, offshore investments, fake companies, and protected transfers are now inside Rachel's system. Once Branca confirms the operation is ready, she sends the evidence to court. Salazar's empire begins collapsing overnight. Authorities freeze his accounts, seize properties tied to fraudulent businesses, and take control of his private ship. His aircraft is grounded, major projects stall, and money he considered untouchable slips beyond his reach. Humiliated, Salazar calls Horowitz and unleashes his anger. Horowitz reminds him that Rachel caused this. Until the billion-dollar debt is paid, she will keep taking pieces of his life. Salazar finally agrees to meet. Before Rachel enters, Sydney gives her a watch with a hidden tracker. If Salazar's men move her, the team will know exactly where she goes. Rachel arrives with Branca and Sydney. Salazar opens with $350 million. Rachel rejects it immediately. She explains that dismantling powerful criminals is her profession. The frozen accounts, seized property, and ruined projects are not the full punishment, only a preview. Salazar raises the offer, but Rachel still refuses. Bobby is owed $1 billion, and that is the only number she will accept. The meeting ends without a deal. Branca expects Salazar to respond with force, so he moves Rachel to a cafe secured earlier. Baker and Susie watch the streets, tracking every vehicle and face approaching the building. Soon, Susie spots two of Salazar's men entering. He warns Branca, but those men are only the front edge of a larger group spreading across nearby streets. Salazar believes Rachel is surrounded. Branca has already mapped most of his men. Baker covers the rear exit while Farid and Mexico take separate positions. Inside, one attacker reaches beneath his jacket. Branca moves first. A shot cracks through the cafe. Customers scatter, chairs fall, and tables overturn as everyone races for the doors. Branca uses the panic as cover, pushing Rachel through the kitchen. Baker, Fareed, and Mexico hold off the attackers long enough for them to escape. Within minutes, Rachel is gone. Olsen reports the failure. Salazar is furious that every move seems to be expected before he makes it. What began as debt collection has become personal. Rachel answers the attack with paperwork. She secures an emergency court order against Salazar's remaining private and business assets. More accounts freeze, more properties become inaccessible, and his available money keeps shrinking. Even a billionaire can be cornered when he loses control of everything he owns. Salazar requests another meeting and offers $800 million. Rachel refuses again. The price remains $1 billion. She also warns that another attack will transform the case. Instead of recovering Bobby's money, she will pursue damages that could cost him $5 billion. Horowitz sees no way out. Salazar finally agrees to pay the full amount. Rachel steps outside and calls Bobby, calmly saying the missing billion has been recovered. Bobby thinks she is joking. She hired Rachel because every other option failed, but never believed anyone could force Salazar to surrender. Yet Rachel delivered exactly what she promised. Then Bobby reveals her true nature. Once the money arrives, she stops answering Rachel's calls. Their agreement gives Rachel 10%, meaning Bobby owes $100 million. Bobby apparently believes avoiding her will be cheaper than paying. Days later, Rachel is alone at a desert camp. Branca and Sidney are away, leaving her exposed. Salazar's men strike. They surround the tent, capture Rachel, and take her to the hidden prison Sidney located during his staged arrest. Salazar visits her there, convinced control has returned to him. Rachel warns that bringing her into this prison is his worst mistake. He laughs. The facility stands on land he controls. Its guards, police, and officials answer to him. In his mind, Rachel has entered a place where law means nothing. Meanwhile, Branca and Sidney enter Bobby's office. They confront her over the unpaid fee and warn that betraying Rachel was a serious mistake. Bobby remains arrogant. She says the agreement involved Rachel, not her operatives, and orders them out. She does not understand that Branca and Sidney are not ordinary employees. Their loyalty is personal. Before they can settle the issue, word arrives that Rachel has been taken. Branca gathers the team. The financial battle is over. Now comes the rescue. Because Sidney was deliberately arrested earlier, they know the prison's location and layout. Branca calculates they have 8 minutes to enter, recover Rachel, and leave before reinforcements lock down the area. He and Sidney disguise themselves as police officers and drive into Salazar's private station. Fareed waits outside in the getaway vehicle. Inside, Branca and Sidney move quietly, taking down guards without raising a full alarm. They find Rachel's cell and free her. Then Fareed sees a black SUV approaching. Their 8 minutes are over. Salazar's men enter as Branca leads Rachel out. A firefight blocks the main entrance, forcing them toward a rear passage. Branca clears a route and they reach Fareed's vehicle, but corrupt police cars begin chasing them. That response was expected. Before the rescue, Fareed placed explosives beneath the officers' vehicles. Sidney waits until the pursuing cars close in, then triggers the charges. The road behind them erupts, stopping the first wave. Branca launches the second escape phase, a route called the Death Game. They drive toward an area prepared with traps, while Salazar's remaining forces follow, believing Rachel is cornered. Team members break away on motorcycles and attack the convoy from both sides and behind, dividing the pursuers' attention. When Olsen hears Rachel escaped, even he cannot believe it. Nobody has entered Salazar's private prison and returned alive. The convoy keeps gaining until Branca and Sidney reach the prepared section. Parts of the road suddenly collapse. Vehicles drop into concealed pits. Others crash while avoiding them. In seconds, an organized pursuit becomes a field of trapped and damaged cars. Salazar still refuses to let Rachel go. Olsen takes a helicopter and joins the hunt himself. Branca guides the team to a fortified position. Baker provides heavy cover. Fareed and Sidney engage attackers outside, while Branca uses a long-range weapon to remove threats before they reach the structure. Once a corridor opens, Branca and Sidney lead Rachel through a protected bunker and away from the battle. Baker stays behind. He keeps firing, holding Salazar's men in place while the others gain distance. Eventually, attackers surround him. With no escape left, Baker sits beside the explosives planted throughout the compound. He takes one final breath and activates them. The entire position disappears in a massive blast. Branca and Sidney are devastated, but stopping would make Baker's sacrifice meaningless. They secure Rachel to a zip line, carry her across a deep ravine, and reach a vehicle waiting opposite. For a moment, Branca thinks the main danger is behind them. Then explosions strike around the vehicle. Olsen has found them from the air. The helicopter follows while Sydney races across rough ground. Each attack lands nearby, and the open road offers almost no protection. Sydney reaches an area with enough cover to stop. Bronca grabs a rocket launcher, leans from the vehicle, and locks onto the helicopter. Olsen sees the missile coming, but too late. The helicopter is destroyed, ending the chase. At the coast, Farid waits with a boat. He asks whether Bronca and Sydney are coming. Bronca says they still have one final job. Farid takes Rachel away while the two men turn back. Later, Rachel enters Bobby's office. Bobby is shocked she survived and confused when Rachel makes no demand for her unpaid $100 million. She asks whether Rachel no longer wants her share. Rachel says she has already been paid. Bobby does not understand. Rachel never needed to collect the fee directly. She only needed to make sure betrayal carried a price no one around them would ever dare ignore again. The operation against Salazar was never finished. While Rachel distracts Bobby, Bronca and Sydney enter Salazar's home, overpower him, and take him away. They do not end his life. Instead, they erase his memory, leaving him unable to explain what happened or identify them. Then, they arrange the evidence to point toward Bobby. To authorities, she has the strongest motive. Salazar owed her $1 billion, and his disappearance follows their financial war. Rachel tells Bobby she remains free, only while the telephone stays silent. The moment it rings, her road to prison begins. Rachel walks out without looking back. Seconds later, the phone rings. Rachel recovered more than money. Salazar is punished for taking her, while Bobby is punished for believing she could use Rachel and refused to pay. None of it would have been possible without Bronca and Sydney, who remained loyal when the operation became open war and risked everything to bring her home.